Welcome back to the shop. I'm Brian DeMambro. Let's go ahead and take a look now at a nice lot of 10 different mid-19th century publishers' cloth bindings. These were issued in New York by Harper and Brothers. You'll notice that these three form the series of 3 volumes. But what's interesting is that within their family library, they're number 32, 72, and 84. So these are non-sequential in the issuance of their series, their larger series. But this is The Sacred History of the World in 3 volumes, 1841. And as you can see, it's clean, tight, and sound. And the second book is also clean, tight, and sound. But curiously, it's 1839. So what we've got here is, this is so interesting because what it means is these were reissued, and this one is 1838. So as the series progresses, they get earlier. So what that means is there's more than one issuance of these. These 3 volumes, it's impossible to know if they were issued together or if it's a married set later on. My guess is they appear to... It is so hard to say. They appear to have a uniform level of wear and appearance, but it's impossible to know, and it really doesn't matter that much for the most part in the context of this lot. Here we have these 2. Now, these are sequential. It's 2 volumes by Irving, and let's take a look. We've got, an engraved frontis with some damp staining, 1840 Washington Irving. So that's a nice date. It appears to be an early issue by Washington Irving, potentially a first edition of this. I'd have to check BAL to know. But I'm not going to, because I'm going to sell it in this lot, and if it is, that's great. And here we've got this one, Mutiny on the Bounty by Barrow. And this is, now you'll notice here that these bindings are actually like a cloth over boards, 1836. This is a very interesting binding style for this era. And on the back of these, the publisher has listed chronologically the various titles that are in their series. And then they've also got a library separately for boys and girls. And then at the front, here is another publisher's catalog. It's very interesting. Life of Muhammad, Narrative and Discovery, History of Insects and so on, Guide to Nature, Philosophy, and here again, let's take a look. Oh, right, this is the one. Oh, there we are. Tahiti view. Here's another engraved view of Pitcairn's Islands. That's the residence of John Adams. This is 1836. Mutiny on the Bounty is sort of what the real title of this is known as. It's about the South Pacific Islands and the mutiny that occurred having to do, in the 18th century. And here we have 2 volumes, Celebrated Female Sovereigns, 1836. Yeah, these are quite interesting, and I think probably still fairly underappreciated by collectors in general. Harper's Stereotype editions. They were quite an enterprising publisher at this date. They really dominated certain aspects of publishing in the United States, in New York and on the East Coast, certainly. Here's another one, 1836, Lectures on General Literature and Poetry, typical type of spotting, but the text block remains essentially tight and sound as issued. Again, we see publisher's catalog on the rear. And then the final volume in this lot of 10 is this History of Chivalry and the Crusades. We've got an engraved frontis here, conferring of knighthood, 1833. This is early publisher's cloth at this date in the United States. And so this lot of 10 Harper's mid-19th century and early 19th century books are available online from me, Brian DeMambro.